If you're a health and wellness professional who wants to start and scale a profitable business in the online space, hang with me. I'm about to walk through the best Instagram content strategy to help you attract, connect, and convert more customers and more clients. Let's dive in. I'm Beverly Simpson, a former district fitness manager. I've built a seven-figure business in the online space. Oh my gosh, this is the first time I've been able to say that. I just realized yesterday that my business has officially crossed that $1 million mark. I share that only to say that the process I'm about to show you is proven. And the best part, I did this with less than 4,000 followers. Well, let's go ahead and dive in. First and foremost, most people are operating from just post every single day and hoping that that's good enough of a business strategy. But I probably don't have to tell you that that doesn't work. In fact, a lot of the old outdated sales tactics around just posting every day is no longer enough. Because if that were true, wouldn't we all be flying around in our personal private jets? And I probably don't have to tell you that's not happening. So I'm going to break this down for you as if I were starting from the very beginning. Let's say I'm a personal trainer. In case you didn't know, that's my background. I'm a former district fitness manager for a national gym. But let's say I'm a personal trainer and I have been working with clients on in person and now I want to transition to online. So the very first thing that we need to understand is that online is just as good as being in person. And you need to decide that. So what I mean by that is there are going to be pros and cons to every vehicle in how you deliver your products and services. Some people prefer online because it's convenient. It's way more convenient than having to drive to the gym and hang out with you and spend the time in person. And the accountability sometimes provides the same. So you have to decide that the value of online is just as valuable as if they were seeing you in person. That's number one. Then you also, number two, need to figure out the ways that you can leverage your time. Oftentimes, what's most personal is most general. So think about the things that you are saying multiple times a day to multiple different clients. Is there a way that you can combine that education component and deliver it one to many? That way you say it once and it is received to many people. So think about the ways that you can leverage your time. Then number three, decide. You get to decide. This is your business. What do you want to talk about every single day? Now, a lot of people out there will accidentally create products and services for their people based on what their people want or what their people say that they want, meaning they'll go out and they'll survey all their audience. And then what ends up happening is one of two things. People will either accidentally build a prison that a job they actually don't want to do. That'll be number one. Or number two, they'll create what they think their clients want when in reality, that's not what they really want, because clients will either tell you what they think you want to hear or they'll tell you what they think they need, which is not the same thing as what they want. And this can be very tricky for people when they're dealing with messaging, because human beings will say one thing and mean another thing. And that can be very challenging to navigate. But for the purposes of this video, let's just keep it simple. You get to decide, what do you want to talk about every single day? Who do you want to serve? Because if they're not hanging out with you now, we're about to create the content that's going to attract them. But in order to do that, you must know, what are the problems that they're in? What is it that they want? Not what they need, what they really want. And we're going to create products, services all around that, starting from deciding what it is you want to talk about. Are you in the health field? Are you in the wealth field? Are you in relationships field? For the purposes of who I work with, I primarily work with people in the health and wellness space. But health and wellness can look from mental, physical, emotional. So, and the reason why is because I love it. I love creating content around health and wellness, mental, spiritual, physical. So would these principles work for a real estate business? Sure. I don't particularly love real estate. Look at my house. I don't know how to make things beautiful in that way. So I'm not the best coach for you, but the principles remain. So you need to decide, what is it that you want to do every single day, all day long? What do you want to talk about? What outcomes do you want to deliver? So this is how I speak to niche. What are the problems that you want to solve? What are the outcomes you want to deliver on? How specifically are you going to solve those problems to get those outcomes? And who are you specifically serving? Start there. Then we get to create our product and services suite, at least the concept of them. Now, a lot of people fall into the traps of, oh, I need to build this and then I'm going to sell it. But then they end up spending so much time creating the content when in reality, you could operate like Kickstart, where we sell the service and we build it together with the client. It's a co-creation. It's very powerful. You get paid to work on the product. Can you think of a job out there that doesn't get paid for their efforts? So why wouldn't you in the online space? Okay, then step number 4. Now we can start to get into how we are going to communicate the value of our products and services. So when we are looking at our Instagram strategy, the first thing that we really need to dive into is, what is the intention of this content piece? Because not all content is created equally. So what that means is some content is going to be designed for more reach, to get more eyeballs. Some content is going to be designed for more leads, more DMs, more engagements, more comments, more followers, however you determine a lead. Now, at the time of this recording, March 30th, 2025, Instagram's algorithms have completely shifted in terms of how they are determining value and how people are watching material. So what Instagram used to do, why followers used to matter just a little bit more, not in the sense of profitability in your business, because those can sometimes accidentally be vanity metrics, popularity metrics. But the reason why they matter in terms of measuring content is because Instagram used to send out your content to the 3% of your people that are your followers. And if people were engaging with it, Instagram said, oh, this is relevant. And then they pressed it out. And then, or they sent it out using their algorithms. And then if more people used it, then they would get more people out in front of more audiences. So then with that said, what that did was it required you to need more followers in order to get more relevance. Okay. Now Instagram has shifted their algorithms to perform more like TikTok, meaning they send it out, the piece of content out to non-followers to see how non-followers are responding to the content. And then they send it out to more people. So this really great news for people who have smaller accounts, or they're starting accounts over brand new. Why? Because this gives your content a fair shot at getting in front of more eyeballs. So with that said, you need to understand what the content intention is. So this means that will one piece of content that you create generate more eyeballs, therefore more leads, therefore more customers and clients? Maybe, but haven't you ever heard of that phrase, chase one rabbit or chase 2 rabbits and get none? Right? So what we want to do is create with the intention of knowing this piece is for more reach. What's the difference? Sometimes it's the difference in the hooks, meaning it's in the difference in level 1 problem awareness. So maybe people don't know why they're not staying fuller longer, and maybe they don't know that they need protein. And then when I say things like that, people go, everybody knows. Everyone? Have you looked at Pinterest or TikTok and searched? Have you asked your friends what protein is? You'll be very curious. In 2020, I lived with someone who was 32 and didn't know that vegetables were a carbohydrate. Now, I don't say that to criticize. I say that to say your context of what you know to be true is likely different than your ideal client. It's a good thing. It gives more space for you to share the truth about your expertise and what you know. So start with the intention of what it is that you're wanting to do. More reach, more leads, more customers and clients. Now, with that in mind, when we know what the intentions are, then we can start brainstorming content. Now, there are typically 3 objectives that I am going for in every single piece of content that I'm creating. So the objectives are usually, I'm either going to shift perspective. So most people are operating from mistakes or misconceptions in order to solve the problem. Because think about it. If they knew what to do and they were doing all the right things, then it wouldn't be a problem. So people are either they don't realize the real problem that they're in, or they're doing all the wrong things to fix it. So people underestimate the value of clarity. Just shifting perspective is enough to provide value. So think of it like this, right? Have we all seen those videos where people are making jokes about like how they have to eat air because all of the information is conflicting on the internet? Now that's funny. Haha, we laugh because it's satire. But the truth about that is that we are inundated with information that's so conflicting that it leaves people feeling more confused than clear. So you providing clarity for your people is very valuable. And we as fitness professionals or movement professionals or health professionals, we tend to undervalue what we bring to the market space. So you think it doesn't matter, but in fact, it does. Because if they could fix the problem, they would. So providing clarity, so shifting perspective, providing clarity is one category topic that is intense. Then one category topic that is important and a necessity. Then the next category topic is results in advance, meaning, are you creating content that is demonstrating proof that your process works? So this is where your educational and value add content really comes into play, and it's important. Now, people spend the majority of time here, but then they accidentally end up treating their content like the encyclopedia or Google. So if your page and your content looks like Google, then you're likely missing the mark here. So if your workouts and nutrition tips and mindset hacks are getting great engagement or even views, but they're not converting into clients, then what might be happening is that we are not creating enough of a gap and reason to take the next step, which becomes the third type of content, which is content that says yes to yourself. Now, not every piece of content that I'm going to create with results in advance is designed to sell someone, become a promotional content, but it is designed to create a gap, to invite them to take the next step. Like, for example, this content framework that I'm teaching you right now is a conversion tool that converts even when I had less than 2,000 followers. In fact, we generated 500K in contracts with this framework with less than 2,000 followers. And our views were not even that impressive. And our views in the context of what other people considered to be viral would not be considered that impressive. We're roughly getting anywhere from 500 to 2,000 views per reel. Now, in the context of people who get millions or 15,000 or 20,000, like some of even my clients, that's nothing to maybe brag about if I were on the internet. However, that's what I meant about profitability metrics versus popularity metrics, because on the outside, that's what you see, but you're not looking at my bank account. So then your next piece of content, which the third type of content is going to be the clear path to say yes to yourself, meaning your promotional content that is specifically designed for people to become a lead, to become a customer, to become a client. A customer for me in our space is low ticket leads. I want more low ticket leads because these are the people who say yes to themselves. These are the people who do not download these freebie PDFs and then with the best of intentions to open them and never do it. These are the people who are willing to invest in themselves, even if it's real estate in their email inbox, $1, $9. The value of the product is not what's important. What's important is that your client has said yes to themselves, and you providing a clear path for them to say yes is valuable, and people underestimate that. People think, oh, I don't want to be sleazy. I don't want to be spammy. But do you go into the grocery store and buy your avocados and think, oh man, they're being so sleazy right now or spammy? I got in trouble for using the word sleaze. So let me just say that when I am using the context of the word sleaze, I looked it up in the dictionary. It is with the intention of saying misguided, misleading, ill-intentioned ways to sell something. So if somebody is lying or using misleading marketing, that is, and with the intention to harm and hurt people, that's how I'm defining the word sleaze. or the tactics sleazy. That's what makes it sleazy. So we could call it slimy. I'm working to change my vernacular on that. Then we can start breaking down the different content types. So I like to use 5 content types: polarizing pieces, design to shift perspective. This is my educational content. So my how-to content, my value add content, then my connection content, my pieces of connection that are designed to deepen the sense of trust in the process. So maybe instead of how-to content, I'll create how I content, or I'll share a story of me or my clients that demonstrates expertise. Then the 5th one is the motivational pieces of content, the content that is designed to inspire and activate people into quick action. All of these are valued in those 3 category topics. Then now we start to break down the content even deeper from there. So now we know what the different objectives are. Now we know what the different categories are. Then we're going to move into the different types, and then we can start layering in all the different creative aspects that everyone's talking about, like hooks and should I do a reel? Should I do a carousel? And the truth of the matter is, the answer is you cannot get it wrong. But the best part, and I'll do a second video on how I can batch create over 60 reels within an hour. I mean, literally, the way to do it is infinite, so that you could really go for the volume. So most people are stuck in this idea of, I got to get it right, I got to get it perfect, and they end up spending hours agonizing over their content creation, when in reality, you could create one piece of content or use one topic and then turn it into upwards of 90 to 100 pieces. Now, stay tuned for the next video, because I'll show you exactly how we build this out so that you can start generating revenue every single day. For me, at least $50 to $100 per day on Instagram with your low ticket leads. And so then once you start, now that you've got your big content bank, we can start layering in the strategy. And for me personally, consistency is going to win over anything else. This is just like when you go on a health and wellness diet, right? Or a health and wellness journey with your clients. Okay. Some people do really well with working out 4 times a week, and then they go all in, whatever. But most people need to really shift their behaviors and have a compounding effect of consistency. It reminds me of the paper towel analogy, right? So we've all seen people talk about this, right? Where it's like you take a big roll of paper towel and then you start to do the habits to lose weight, okay? Or to get healthier or in shape or whatever. And it's one paper towel at a time, and nothing changes. You rip off a piece of paper towel and you realize, oh, that was really hard and intense. And you look at the paper towel and you're like, oh, nothing changed. Until one day, after one rip, you notice that the paper towel roll is small. And it was from one rip at a time. Building a business and doing this type of work is the same. I said earlier in this video, yesterday, I literally just shared that my business has crossed the 7-figure mark, and I didn't even realize it, because it's literally been built from one post at a time. One transaction at a time. So when you're coming up with your content strategy, it is important that you stay consistent. Now, we've had clients that have gotten a client every time they post, and they post 3 times a month. But once you start looking at how easy it can be to repurpose, restate, and reuse your content, you'll see that it's actually a hang of a lot easier to post more, to get the volume, that you can have the visibility and the value and the volume without spending hours in your content creation. There are so many different ways that you can batch create, which I'll leave for the next episode so that you can see it. So with that said, once you have that strategy laid out, now we get to execute, and you are very clear on what your consistency is. I would suggest at least one time a day. What I'm going for right now, I'll be honest, in 2025, I'm going for volume. I'm going for both value and volume. I'm going for both. I do about 3 to 4 times a day posting. And I do about my goal is one new fresh piece of content per week. And then the rest of it, I repurpose. You spend so much time on that content, I just reuse it. And I'll show you in the next video how I can organize it and how I make that work. So great job here. And I'll catch you on the next one.